after two powerful earthquakes hit the country, blocking roads and causing landslides. Rescuers are now frantically searching for survivors. More than 300 houses and over 100 public facilities were destroyed or damaged. The disaster agency said that nearly 1,000 aftershocks had been recorded since the quake. ABC's Lama Hassan has more.
Yeah, that's right. Thousands of residents were forced to spend the night outdoors in tents, and this morning, the desperate search for survivors. Rescue teams moving from building to building, looking for any sign of life, combing through the mountain of rubble. The two powerful back-to-back earthquakes and hundreds of aftershocks hitting Indonesia on Saturday morning, killing at least 53 people and injuring more than 135 others. The first quake, one of the largest to strike the region in years, a 7.7 magnitude off the island of Flores, hit just before 6 a.m. local time, damaging hundreds of homes, buildings collapsing, people rushing to find safety, terrified.
Dios mío bendito. Dios mío, Dios mío. Dios mío. Padre Santo, Padre Santo. Padre Santo. Padre Santo.
All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Rekah Kodash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect. All right, so this is another video coming at you once again. So, hey, we in the last days, man. The Lord said that it will be earthquakes, physically and metaphorically too, because earthquakes, as a young brother at my camp brought out, Amiam brought out that earthquakes could be uprising, riots, so it's a twofold situation we have right here, and I'm gonna get the scripture in a minute in Matthew's, so I did a simple AI search, and I read said how many earthquakes have there been over the past year or so, and it says over the past year, 365 days, the earth has recorded approximately 56,390 earthquakes of magnitude 1.5 or greater. Globally monitored networks locate around 20,000 felt or measurable earthquakes per year, about 55 per day, while the total number of minor detectable microquakes reach hundreds of thousands annually. And that's crazy because it's never been, as the years go on, it's never been that high, and at once it was only certain places known for getting earthquakes. Like I think you had a whole bunch on the East Coast now. Every few off, I don't know whether they digging over on my side of town, Some brothers live on the other side of town. But on this side of town, every other day, I'm hearing trembling. Now, I don't know if they're doing groundwork or digging tunnels over here on this side, which they probably are. But I'm hearing a shake every other day. It's like a trembling, noise down here where I stay at. It's just shaking. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And it never was like this 10, 20 years ago in the 90s actually in the 90s when I grew up. The West Coast was known to have earthquakes. You only had earthquakes in certain places were known. Out in Cali, LA, and places like that. The East Coast was never known for having earthquakes. But now, as you see in the last days, all these events are happening everywhere. I mean, nowhere is exempt from things. And we all know the Lord controls, the elements, But that's another detector to tell whether we're in the last days or not, because things are just way out of whack. Things are weirder than ever. Things are weird, man. Let me get the scripture in Matthew's. All right, we in Matthew's, the 24th chapter, right? I'll start at 6, right? As a matter of fact, let's start at 3. It says, and this Yahweh Shah speaking, it says, and then as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us when shall all of these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Because at that time, we're going back 2,000 years ago, the disciples thought that this was going to happen in their lifetime. They thinking, well, they ain't know they was going to have to come back in a reincarnation, so and so years. Then you had the Renaissance, the Dark Ages, that 1,000-year period, the Dark Ages, the Byzantine Empire. Then it came back again. Then you had to go through slavery. They didn't realize that back then. And then we into the last days. But compared to a young brother was talking the other day, compared to the spirit world, that's only been 2 days ago. See what I'm saying? But down here, when you come back, it seems like forever. But reading on, it says, and Yahweh Shah answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Lord, and shall deceive many. And that's what's happening now. You go to these churches, man, it's crazy, man. But the main thing is Caesar Borgia. Everybody think that the Lord is a so-called white man right now, because they repainted the image of the Lord and have him looking like an Edomite. And that's totally wrong. That's totally off. So a lot of people are being deceived, even our own people. Even us, even the very elect was deceived at one point until the Lord woke us up. And there's a scripture that says even the very elect, if they could deceive the very elect, so they ain't gonna be able to deceive the elect. But prior to that, before the elect woke up, everybody was sleeping. So it says, here it is. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And that's happening now. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places. And again, the earthquakes, like the brother go into, the earthquakes can mean uprising, But I just played those clips because it is, in fact, we are having actual earthquakes like never before, But since we're here right now, Let's look up what it says in the Hebrew on earthquakes.
Strong's G 4578 seismos. Seismos.
So it says a shaking, a commotion, right? You know, you got a lot of marches, you know, uproars, like things happening, like Black Lives Matter marching. You can even throw in the civil rights movement. But commotions mean, you know, things is happening. You know, police shoot down an unarmed Jake, and then you have an uprising or a commotion going on, and that's happening all over the world, even now than ever before. You got immigrants coming into Europe. That's a commotion. They taking over. So that's a lot of those curses coming down on Esau as well. Because soon people ain't going. They're not going to be listening to the government. They're going to be in an uprising state, because you can only push people for so far until they start rebellion, and that's when Esau take it too far, and that's when certain things are going to be happening, and that's when Esau is going to push in his new world order, and that's when the Lord is going to come back. But we don't know the exact time. We just know the era, right? So that's why we are called the Watchmen, because we're keeping a watch and doing these videos and alerting, you know, the elect, the hopeful elect, on these things that that's coming to pass, and keeping up with the news as well, you know. So it says a shaking, a commotion, a tempest, an earthquake, right? So it's twofold, you know what I'm saying? Because we are having earthquakes, and we're having a lot of commotion going on. You're gonna have Jake uprising. You're gonna have a lot of these Edomites uprising against this government, because this government is really tyrannical, and it's so crazy, it's so hypocritical that the people are seeing it now. See, in the kingdom, it's gonna be just a straight dictatorship. You know, we're gonna rule with a rod of iron. You know, literally, we're gonna rule. So there ain't gonna be no confusion. But in this place, they try to lie to you and tell you that it's a republic, or it's a you know, it's ran like you know, like a business, or you got voters, and everybody has a say so. That's a pure lie. Capitalism, which, how can you have capitalism in a place where a Fortune 500 company can get bailed out by the government? You know, it's a dictatorship, but it's a hidden elite that's ruling a class that's a front, making you think that it's a capitalist government, which is not. It's ruled by. That's why you see all these small hats running everything. They control everything. They own everything, stock and barrel. You don't see no Jakes, Floyd Mayweather, Shaq, and all that. Why they don't have they got a lot of money, but they don't have wealth. You know, they ain't owning. Esau might give them a few businesses here and there, but they don't really own a chain by themselves, or a company. All of the companies that they own are conglomerates, business that's already successful, ran by other Edomites, and they just happen to be partnership in it. But they ain't got no company that's set up for themselves and real successful like that. Nah, they gotta jump on a bandwagon, you know. So yeah, it's let's get this to close it out. Let's get Nahum, because this place is nothing but lies. How you go back? Okay. Nahum 3:1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city." What is the bloody city? Babylon the Great, aka America, the United States of America. All right, because the whole America is not going to be destroyed. You got that borderline up in Canada, all the way down to the borderline in Mexico. That's called the United States of America, which really it really is America, but it's the United States of America, aka Babylon. That is going to be destroyed. Canada and Mexico on down. I believe all the islands are going to be destroyed as well because it's part of America. But South America that's going to be saved. It says, "Woe to the bloody city, is full of lies and robbery, and the prey departeth not." So this place is full of lies, and it will be destroyed. And we just checking in on a basis and letting you know. The watchmen are letting you know day by day of what's going on. So I hope this was edifying to the body. Till again, Shalom.